From the top rope to your collection, this is collecting the 1, 2, 3 presented by Cardboard Dugout. I'm your host, Moon 3PO, and this is my tag team partner, Bro Pio, coming through with our post WrestleMania episode. But before we get into all that, Bro Pio, how you doing?
It's pretty good, man. Just living the life, you know what I mean? But yeah, we're now what, a day, 2 days post WrestleMania.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, now we're on the road to Backlash. So
backlash.
Backlash.
Yes,
How are you, my dude? How was your WrestleMania trip? Let's hear about it.
yes. Obviously, guys, if you guys were not listening to the pod or been following ever, maybe this is your first time ever tuning into the pod. I did see a lot of content growth here over this past weekend. This was my first WrestleMania weekend ever in person. So in this episode here, we're gonna talk all about it. Obviously, we're gonna talk about WrestleMania 42 both in person and watching at home. I know obviously there's a lot of criticism and definitely is warranted. So obviously, again, we've had a couple of days to eat it, digest it. So we're gonna talk all about it. Obviously, we had Raw and NXT tonight. We're also gonna talk about that. And then we did get some news on some upcoming sets and some sneak peeks. So we're also gonna talk about that. But like you mentioned here, WrestleMania 42 back in Las Vegas. One word to describe my weekend, I would say, I don't even think there's even one word to describe it. It's very eventful. It's Las Vegas. That was my first time in Las Vegas, which that city is like on a different like realm. Like
Yeah,
it felt kind of
those
unreal
those people
being
don't
in
sleep
there.
there. They
Yeah.
stay up all night. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane, like, how much, like, attraction is there, the nightlife. Granted, I didn't do too much as far as of nightlife. We and my wife, we went out a couple times, and we stayed out a little bit, but, like, other than that, like, it was just, like, constant, like, go, go, go. Usually, when we're on vacation, that we can finally have a little bit of time to, like, sit, relax, do stuff, but I feel like in Vegas, and I think that's the whole city in general, like, it's just go, 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 and how much that city is evolving. So I can see the appeal there as far as why WWE maybe did it last year and coming back. I can definitely see the appeal, but obviously with that comes a lot of craziness. Um, I put out a video when I got home from my hotel after, because I only went to night one. For those who don't know, I only went to night one, didn't go to night two. Obviously, night one was, you can talk. Obviously, we're going to talk about that here in a short few minutes here, but I made it my mission to not let my night one affect my whole weekend, because my whole weekend was like I said in my video, like I feel like if you're a wrestling fan in general, like I feel like it is something that like you have to at one point try to do. And it's definitely is doable. And I think obviously next year being in Saudi Arabia, obviously that's going to be a little bit tough. But hopefully, maybe the next year or the following year, whatever the case may be, like hopefully that's a thing that can be like a yearly thing, because it's definitely a weekend like in general. If you just love wrestling, WWE aside, if you just love wrestling, kind of we talked about in the last pod, like that whole weekend is just very, very exciting. So yeah, I got to Vegas on Thursday. Didn't do too much on Thursday. We did go to House of Glory. That was fun. Didn't do anything like WWE related. Did go to the Superstore. Got a couple logo fractor boxes. Obviously, we'll talk about that later in the episode. Did go to the Superstore. Even just being the Superstore that first day, like 2 hours, even that was overwhelming. Like there's just so much stuff going on. There's like obviously all the different types of merchandise you can buy. There, yeah, it was just very overwhelming. So got out of there, dropped a quick 300 by mirror. It was funny. We're walking over there. And I told Mrs. Mills, we're gonna walk in there. We're just gonna look. Like I told her, like we'll buy some stuff tomorrow potentially, but I don't want to buy any stuff on Saturday just because I was actually there when I was gonna be at Mania, and I
Yeah.
didn't want to walk around with too much merch. So I was like, we'll buy stuff on Friday because that's our actual day. But nope, that did not happen. We went in there and dropped an easy $300 here. Obviously, $100 being towards the logo fractor boxes, and then she bought some t-shirts. I bought a t-shirt. I bought an I Was There shirt. You probably got a little bit triggered by that. So I did buy an I Was There t-shirt. Usually I don't buy those shirts, but I feel like, again, being my first Mania, I had to buy that.
Those adventures, you can never go wrong with those.
Yeah, you can never
Especially
really go
like the
wrong with them.
especially like the PLE ones. Those are just like, I feel like it's like a staple. You have to get it. So
Yeah. Typically I don't buy them, but I feel like now I'm like, all right, this is like a one where I have to buy one. They had different versions, so I got one with the posters and all them. So it was a pretty cool t-shirt. So yeah, I got the hell out of there really quickly before I spent all my money there, and then went to House of Glory. Was able to find some real cheap tickets there on the way over there. It was like $40 total. So it was really, really cheap. And it was like in a theater. believe they called it the Pearl something theater. It's again kind of going back to Vegas and how that like we're inside a casino and then like you're in a theater.
Was
So
it connected to the casino? Usually they
yeah,
all
it was yeah. So it was absolutely insane. The whole casino just smelled like cigarettes and beer.
cigarettes.
It was
Yeah.
cigarettes and beer. It was absolutely insane. So
Did y'all
uh
go to the old strip? Like that's Fremont Street.
no, we didn't go to Fremont. We wanted to
To go to
on
those casinos,
Friday.
those you'd be smelling like cigarettes all day in those casinos. They're a little bit older, but
No,
it's
we
pretty
did
cool.
not go to
They have like a big old LED like crossover,
yeah.
and so like they show like a bunch of videos. So yeah,
Yeah,
pretty cool.
our good pal Babyface Breaks went to the Fremont because the Drowning Pool had a free concert
Yeah, I saw
that
that.
night.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
me and Mrs. Moo, we thought about going, but we were I don't know where we were at. I think we were like by like Mandalay Bay. I don't know. We weren't by Mandalay Bay. I
yeah.
don't
It's a
know.
it's a
I don't know
good
where the hell
probably
we
like
were at.
15-20 minutes I think from where y'all are at, more or
Yeah,
less.
so we're like on the
Yeah,
opposite side of this trip. So yeah,
yeah.
it just didn't work out configure like schedule wise. And we had meeting the next day. So I didn't want to be out that late just because I knew that day was gonna be like crazy. So yeah, did House of Glory. That was cool. I saw a lot of indie wrestlers. I granted indie wrestlers. I didn't know who the hell they were just because from I also actually met Babyface Breaks there. I said there were a lot of New York based wrestlers, which he knew of, but I obviously did not know. But it was pretty cool seeing Dakota Kai, Charlie. That was with Shotzi Blackheart. That was a nice match there. The Hardy Boys, that was cool.
Mm.
Seeing Bandito, he fought Amazing Red. That was an excellent match. Like that was like probably one of the best matches I saw the whole weekend. Considering it's crazy even saying that, considering I went to WrestleMania. So that was an absolutely insane match.
You saw Brody
Who-
King. Was Brody King was there too, right?
yeah, Broder King versus Zilla fought too. That was a good match as well. I'll be like completely honest. Like, never really, like, obviously, I've heard of Zilla. I've obviously seen his stuff, his interviews, and stuff like that, but I never really watched like a full pledged match. So seeing him in the ring for the first time was cool. We saw the good, I didn't even know the Hardy Boys were going to be facing the Good Brothers. So that day, so seeing the Good Brothers were there. So that was fun. And then they threw in some like, it was called, like, it was a circus tag team. I don't know what the hell they
Hmm.
were. It was like the tamer and then the other character or the other wrestler was like a lion. It was really fucking weird. But yeah,
Interesting.
that was fun. Best wrestler to come out of there, his name is Sweet Cheeks. He throws out candy into the crowd. So that was my favorite wrestler to come out of that
I
night.
saw your post, and I'm like, who in the heck is Sweet Cheeks?
I believe his name is James Sweet Cheeks White. I believe is his full
Okay,
name.
let's check this
Yeah,
dude
he
out.
comes out and just throws candy. So yeah, it was definitely, you could tell it was definitely a indie setting there. Didn't even recognize it until you told me. Lana Black, Cora J was in my section. Didn't even
Yeah.
freaking realize that. Was too focusing on the graps. Didn't even realize she was in my section. But yeah, it was cool. There were some streamers that were also there. That Alan Owens was there. Mrs. Moon saw the freaking Hardy Boys like walk past her like nonchalant and go to the elevator. I was again too locked in on the graps. So like, hey, look, the Hardy Boys just walked past me. I was like, didn't even like bother. Like, hey, look, it's the Hardy Boys. So yeah, it was absolutely insane. But yeah, House of Glory was an overall great time. Just to kind of set the weekend as far as when it comes to wrestling. Then Friday was definitely the more eventful day. That was my full pledge WWE World. That was again like a Comic Con for like all wrestling fans. That again day was just very eventful. Again, very overwhelming because there's just so much different things that you could do, and like obviously there's wait times and stuff like that. So yeah, it was from like we didn't like I didn't get to see all of it. Like there was like a limousine that did like the honoring Eddie Guerrero. There was a AAA exhibit. There was the Hall of Fame exhibit. There was some like slapping thing, like the little like I don't know if you saw like the little test dummy, the slapping the seven
Yeah.
McMahon. Like we didn't even see that. Yeah, because there was just like a lot that you can do. So like we got what was the first thing that we did? Damn, I'm blanking. Oh, Tops booth. That was the first thing that we did. Actually, no, I take that back. So the first thing we did was actually went to go see the live matches. That was probably one of the cooler things that came out of WWE World is they were holding the live matches. So the first match we saw was Kendall Gray versus Ivy Nile. That was a fun match to kind of kick off the morning. And then they did Jada Parker versus Lola Vice. That was a fun one. And then after that, took a break, then went to the Tops booth. That is where like my main focus was to be a part of, or not be a part of it, obviously, but to go and just be a part of that Tops booth and go see it in person. So obviously, showing off the WrestleMania 42, WrestleMania 41 patches that are now going to be found in Tops Royalty, which drops in May. They also did showcase the WrestleMania 42 patches where it was funny because I was like, obviously being at WrestleMania, I was like, hey, did this person have a patch? Like, where was this patch at? Obviously with you guys. So that was fun. They showcased that. They showcased a lot of royalty. And I think one thing I did tip my cap off the tops and what I, also to Fanatics as well, while it catered to, season collectors like myself, like you, who may know this stuff, it definitely did a good job of introducing, concepts to new collectors and getting them to collect. So a really cool part of that booth itself was the Fanatics Live segment. So if you didn't have the Fanatic Collect app already, they had you download the Fanatics Collect app, and then you were able to walk in through like Gorilla and then open up a pack with a personality that's found on Fanatics Live. So like Sunday they had Mama Breaks there. I believe the Filth Bomb guys did Saturday. Friday was our good guys over at the Wax Culture with Troy. So Troy was controlling that booth. And they're doing Insta Rips. So basically, Insta Rips is where it's a digital pack, repack essentially. You rip open the pack, it goes directly to your Fanatics Collect account. You can either redeem it, get it sent over to your home, or you can sell it for Fanatics credit. So introducing that aspect, again, that's an aspect I think that's kind of, still not very popular with collectors and or with new collectors. So this having that being introduced to, season collectors and to new collectors, I think that was really cool. So doing that with Troy was really cool. I got like an Xavier Woods, like Exalted something like out of like 99. Mrs. Mood pulled a freaking chase as she does. She pulled the Chase Roman Reigns PSA 10 from the Cactus Jack WrestleMania format. So she pulled one of the chase cards. So Instant Rip WWE cards are coming soon. So that part was cool. And obviously when you go to the booth, you were able to get these tops, the Topps trading cards, which they didn't give out after WrestleMania. So that was a little bit disappointing, but they did give them out at the Topps booth. So that was fun. Then went back to the live ring action here where Mrs. Moon, when I went to go get something to drink, she secured like front row railing seats. So that was pretty cool. Like front row, like standing like area. So that was cool. We saw like Sol Ruka. She was like within like 2 feet from us. So that was cool. We saw Sol Ruka versus Izzy Dame. We then saw Tony D'Angelo versus Bravo Americano. I took a selfie with Tony D, got the little hand bump with the Bravo Americano. So that was pretty cool. My wife almost got a selfie with Soruka, but the cameraman tripped. So that was funny because they were like going backwards and he tripped over the steel steps and she got like distracted and then like started walking that way. But we made up with it because on WrestleMania 42 at the Cricket Wireless, we did meet her. Spoiler alert. So that was fun. And then yeah, man, after that, it was just a bunch of like going.
Were you allowed to like leave and go from World, or like once you're
Yeah.
in, you're in? Oh, okay.
No, you're able to leave. I know that was a lot of like misconception on like Facebook groups I was in that you couldn't leave and go. You got like one of like those invisible stamps, and then you're able to go back in and out. Cause yeah, we left for a little bit just to go get like food, but we were able to. Yeah,
unless they had food there, like food trucks and stuff like that. But
nah, they only had a freaking Papa John's thing where they took us fucking like 20 minutes to get a fucking cheese pizza. It was fucking ridiculous. So yeah, you were able to leave and come back. So after that, we left to go get like a quick like little caffeine boost snacks, and then went back into WWE World. And then yeah, after that, it was just like a whirlwind. We saw the Almo booth, which that was Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch's coffee. We tried that. That was cool. And then you got like a little bit of a sneak peek where if you purchase the drinks and bought the coffee there with the little QR code, we're gonna get coffee sent over to us that are actually signed by Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. So that should be coming soon. It was actually really good. I told my wife, I'm glad I became a coffee connoisseur the last couple of months because that coffee was actually pretty good. So they were there again. They even came and interacted at the booth. We were like, I would say like 5 feet away from them. So that was cool. That it got absolutely hectic in there. And then after that, did my cool. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it on the top, real far left hand, depending on where you're watching. Created my Topps card, which you jumped off. You jumped off a top rope. That was freaking fun. That took long as hell, just because there was obviously a lot of people, a lot of kids doing it.
Yeah.
So that itself took like 30-40 minutes just to go through all that. Made me late to my freaking Kendall Gray photo op. But yeah, that was freaking cool. Like you literally got on top of a top rope, not like a top rope, but like you literally got on top of like a little bit of a platform, and then you did you did whatever you could do. Like they told you could do a frog splash, you could do or a flying elbow, an elbow drop. So I told Mrs. Moose either I'm gonna do an elbow or I'm gonna do like a CM Punk esque, or I'm gonna do a freaking frog splash. But I feel like I got more air. I feel like I got more air time if I did a frog splash. But it was crazy because they told you like you couldn't just do it. Like you couldn't look down. Like you have to look up and because the
Oh,
camera's right there. Because like if you look down, they're only gonna like see your
t
head. So
yeah.
they're like you have to look up and then do the move. So that's why like if for YouTube views, I'll put like a little overlay right now, like real close of the JPEG of it. Um, but yeah, that was freaking cool. Even like when we were leaving, AJ Styles was up there. He did like a dummy one, so that was kind of
Mm,
cool. Um, and yeah, then had my photo op. We did Kendall Gray, so that was fun. What else did we do there, man? It was like again, like everything's just like was again very the Mattel booth. Saw Roxanne Perez interacting with her figure. That was cool. Um, but yeah, that was World. So that was yeah, again, that was from 9 to 4. We literally spent our whole day there. Absolutely insane. A lot of fun. I think that itself again was like made up for the weekend, just like being a part of that event, seeing a couple of guys run into me that I knew from over from obviously that being Bayface Breaks. Ran into a couple of streamers there. Some people over on TikTok recognized me there, so that was kind of insane. So yeah, it was overall a lot of fun just being involved, and that made up basically for my whole weekend. And then go leading up to WrestleMania 42. Um, yeah, that again was absolutely insane. The traffic though wasn't as bad as I thought. I don't know what it was. I've always heard some nightmare stories about getting to the arena, things like that. They had like a nice little like ride share area. Maybe just
yeah.
because we left at a good time, I would assume maybe that was it. But uh, took an Uber there, got there pretty easy. Then we walked through, and then we were able to get to the back, the pre-show area. So we hung out there for about like 30 minutes, and then that's when we're just standing there, like hey, I think So Ruka's doing a photo op for the Cricket Wireless from 12 to 2. So we got a line that moved pretty quickly. And then we were able to meet her, took a picture of her for free. So that was cool. I was like, feel sorry for the suckers I paid for a photo op the other day. So that was like 60 bucks. I was like, I literally met her for free. So that was cool. Very nice person. I didn't realize how freaking tall she is. She's freaking
Yeah.
tall. Uh, obviously seen her on television, obviously, you can, maybe make up height, but yeah, she's freaking tall. Like she had some inches on Mrs. Moon, and she had a couple inches on me. And that was me wearing my New Balance there. So yeah, she's freaking tall.
That was you
Um,
and your lemon pepper steppers.
my lemon pepper steppers, yeah. So yeah, she had some inches on her. I don't even know how I had that moment from just go with how tall you think that guy is. That was
That's
really me because yeah, she's freaking tall. So yeah, that was cool. And then going through the arena was yeah, like very easy. Like didn't have like no like nightmare stores going to the arena. Was able to get what I wanted. Again, didn't buy too much merch there just because again we literally bought all our merch the day before. Got a AJ Lee print that's numbered out of 300. Got a Danhausen print that's numbered out of 500. Didn't buy the Punk one just because I already have a Punk print, but yeah, it was overall like really really nice. The environment was good. The crowd, I know I heard some people talk about the crowd after I got back to the hotel. I thought the overall crowd was good. We were pretty loud. I thought, we popped when we needed to. They were singing Randy Orton's theme song. So like, I don't know. I've always heard some people say like it's the microphones that they use or whatever it is, but I thought we were pretty loud. Again, I really can't speak on that. Um, but yeah, I would think that we were a pretty decent crowd. I don't know how it sounded on TV. I know we talked briefly about the page pop, which obviously we'll talk about, when we actually talk about WrestleMania Night 1 and 2. But I don't know how it sounded on TV.
Yeah, I think it sounded good on TV. The only reason why I had asked you about the page pop, I don't know if maybe it cut out for like a quick second or something like that. So that's why I was like curious. I was like, hey, how was her pop in person? But I didn't have any problems with the crowd on Saturday night. I thought it was
Yeah,
fine.
I know some people were talking about that really briefly. But yeah, overall, I thought we were a pretty lively crowd here. It was funny. We had a kid in our section who was like just like the life of our section. He was like cheering for like ISO Speed, the Usos, everybody that was intended. Yeah, he was like the life of our section. But yeah, overall, I thought we were a pretty good crowd. The seat that we had, again, you guys saw my Instagram. I highly recommend if you want to go see like pictures and stuff like that. Go check over my Instagram with the repealed links in the description down below as well. Like even though we were kind of far, we had a good little viewpoint of everything. Obviously, if you're gonna take away something from night one, it obviously is the time length, which obviously we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. But overall, just being in there was very fun. I enjoyed it, minus from the matches itself. Again, we'll talk about that here in a couple of minutes here. But again, being in that environment, walking through the stadium, my wife got a good picture of me walking up to the steps and kind of seeing it. It's very unreal. Like you see it on TV, the big stages, the big LED screens, the big crowd. That was my first time also in a football stadium. I've never been in a stadium before like
Mhm.
that. So kind of just seeing like how big that section is and how big the area was is it's being outside too. Like it was just very surreal. It's something I think we'll never forget. We'll always talk about that experience. And then obviously leaving, saw a couple of people, saw Chris Van Vliet. That was cool. So took a picture with him. Saw some more guys as well. Saw some other streamers. Like there's again streamers galore. There's a bunch of streamers, obviously. What was his name? Alan Owens was there. What's the guy's name that does the? I'm bad with streamers' names. Damn, what's his name? The one that does the Waffle House order, Michael, I think his
Oh,
name
I know what
is.
you're talking about, but yeah, I don't know his name.
Yeah, I'm so bad with names. Saw him was there. Uh, I saw the freaking LA Night Girl. Um,
Okay.
Michael was there. It was just a bunch of streamers galore. So yeah, I saw seeing everybody there, and then that was basically it. And then that night of we went to the MGM, which obviously we could also talk about the Punk thing as well. Superstar galore there. I saw a lot of superstars there. Saw Sami Zayn walking through. And yeah, I think that'll be my final viewpoint on my night here. Is like we went to the MGM, gambled a little bit, kind of just put in some final bets, and then we called it a night here. But yeah, it was absolutely insane. Like how much like being there in person, like the lack of security that was there is absolutely insane because it is a free for all in there. Like there is generally hordes of people just waiting in that little lobby area where that little lion's at. There was just
Yeah.
people just waiting there. It was
So did they all stay at the MGM? Is that what it was?
for the I from what I heard, I believe there was a hotel called something Blue something. I believe they stayed there, and then other people stayed at the MGM.
Uh,
So like what we saw walking through, like we saw like Jamie Noble, we saw Booker T, um, we saw like Buddy Matthews, we saw Brutus Creed, we saw Sami Zayn walking through. I felt so bad for Sami because like he was walking through and you could just tell, like, I think he had food with him. And he was just like trying to get to his room. And like people were just like bumping into him and hoarding him. And like people had the audacity to boo him. I was like, booing him on TV is one thing, like, but booing him at a hotel when the dude's just trying to get to his room and like enjoy his night and like we're obviously rest up for his WrestleMania match. Like it's absolutely insane. There's like, some guy like booed him. Like, oh, don't be like that, Sammy. Like, if you guys want to meet these people, go pay for the freaking photo ops. If you want to go meet them, go freaking send a light at the freaking Cricket Wireless or wherever that they're doing these events at. Because being like these, like, as much as we see them on TV, we talk about them on TV and whatever. Like I think people fail to realize like these are people too, like these are human beings. So like the fact that they were just like bombarding everybody and like going for pictures and all like I like all the superstars that I just mentioned, like I didn't even want to like bother them at one point because like yes, it's cool, it's unreal to see them, but like going and bombarding them, like that to me will always be like my number one thing I would never do. And it's some things like some superstars do highly preach. Salsa Ruka again there actually. She was going through the casino area, like where all the slot machines were. And again, people were just like bombarding her. I felt bad for her. She was taking pictures, like don't get me wrong. But like yeah, that was just absolutely insane. So like seeing the CM Punk thing today or last night,
yeah.
like that was like a completely valid reaction. I think like from being there in person, like it's very real because yeah, there was no security. I don't know what that looks like for on WWE's end or how that works, but yeah, there's nobody there protecting the superstar. It was literally a free for all. Like Sami Zayn, like literally had like no. I think that was the worst one I personally saw. Like he just like was trying to book it. Some guy like ran into him, he bumped him. He said sorry, but like obviously it's the dude's fucking fault for like getting in his way. The dude's just
Fuck
trying
'em.
to get to his room. Um, but yeah, overall, man, it was just a very fun weekend. Would I do it again? Probably. Hopefully, again, not in Vegas because again, that whole city in general is just like very tiring. Like it's just,
Yeah.
yeah, that city is just like on a different level. That's why I kept telling Mrs. Moon like I hate how they took it away from New Orleans because they would have been an easy drive, 8 hour drive. Could have enjoyed Bourbon Street, do all that
Yeah.
kind of good stuff. Because yeah, Las Vegas itself is just in a different realm. And I was like, ugh, like I really hope like I don't have to do this again. But I think it is something where again, if you are a wrestling fan, I think it's something that that you have to participate in at least once in your lifetime, if possible. Um, and of course, if you guys want to see like videos, pictures, things like that, I highly recommend you go check out the YouTube channel, check out the TikToks, check out Instagram, all my pictures of who I met. If you want to see me jump off the freaking top rope thing, you can see that there. But yeah, overall, again, that itself made up for the whole experience itself. The whole weekend in general was a very eventful, exciting, weekend that I think as a wrestling fan will never forget, and I definitely enjoyed it. So hopefully moving forward we could do it again. Hopefully not in Vegas because I honestly don't want to go back there because that city is it's just
I don't think they would. They'd be fools if they take a break and go to Saudi and then return right back to Vegas. I swear to God, these. Uh,
yeah
but
yeah.
what do I know?
Hopefully it's not the case. I pray that's not the case, but yeah, overall it was just it was just on another level. But yeah, that was my weekend. Enjoyed it. And now let's get into the actual match itself. So obviously WrestleMania 42. Quick thoughts here. Overall, what would you give WrestleMania 42 on I know you like your grade scale. So, and I'll keep it with the grade scale too, because it's kind of hard to put it on star one, especially when there's night ones and night twos. But on a grading scale, overall combined with night one and night two, what would you give WrestleMania 42?
Well, I did rate it on the drop kicks. I gave night one a 2 star, and then I gave night two 4 stars. So if you want to combine the two, that's what 6 out of 10, 60%. That's like a D. So yeah, that's basically what I gave it. Night one, just from a match standpoint and just like the way the show flowed on TV was just not good. Like you would have they'd had a match and then it would just go to like a 4 minute ad break and then you come right back in and then like you're just right on to the next match. And then the same thing again. The match would happen, 4 minute ad break, or you would get like a WWE ad, so like a Slim Jim or like some bullshit like that, and then you would get a 4 minute ad of like regular other shit like the fucking Ram and all that other crap. They come right back in, and then they're like talking probably like to Michael Cole or whoever the announcers were, and then they just go straight to the next match. Like it was just like, and it's so funny because when I was watching like this is like one of the things I thought that WWE was like different from AEW. Like WWE will like you would get the backstory as to like why these matches were happening, and like you would get like the whole story, how it got here, and they weren't giving us that. Like, it was just going straight into the matches, and that was like one of the biggest complaints I had about AEW's reviews. Like you would just go match break, match break, match break, and it's just like a free for all, and that's basically what we got. Both night one and two were like that, so I'm not just
Yeah.
talking just about night one, but night one, night two from like a production, it was just so many ads and it was just so crazy. Like there was no like, you go back and watch like old WrestleManias, like you would get segments like interactions with like, some of the superstars in the back interacting with legends, or you'd get like your Ron Simmons damn quote. Like so you would get stuff like that, and there was just none of that at all in here. Um, like for John Cena too, I think I even tweeted it out. Like I tweeted it out for night two, but like night one, John Cena just came out to introduce, the WrestleMania for at the beginning, came back out, announced the crowd total, with brought out Bianca Belair, which honestly I love Bianca, but I don't think that needed to be on out there in WrestleMania. Um, but like that's all they had him do. Like usually, like if you go back and look at the WrestleMania with the New Day, like they at least interacted like and came out multiple times. Like you obviously have that big shocking moment when the Hardy Boys came
Hardy
back.
Boys.
Um, like why couldn't they do something like that with Paige's return? Like, hey, like let's well, I guess you can't do that because Nikki Bella. I don't know if that'd make it weird. Never mind, take that thought back. But there's this other stuff that you could have of like interaction, and obviously we got a little bit of that night too when he interacted with Danhausen and Kit Wilson and the Miz. But yeah, it felt very wonky. It just felt very like the flow was just very very weird. So I don't know what they did for y'all. I don't know how it was for y'all in person. Like after the matches, like were they just showing ads? Because I think so.
Hmm.
For what I think on the Netflix slide, I believe they were showing just like a bunch of like ads for the Hulk Hogan documentary that
Yep.
drops on Wednesday.
Yep.
So is that what y'all were getting?
Yeah. So it literally the same
Okay.
thing. Like a match would end, we would get like in ring or not. We wouldn't even get like in ring stuff or like the stuff you see on Netflix when doing like in reviews stuff like that. We would literally get like a string of video series ads, and then it will come to the next match. Like, it'll show the graphic to the next match, and they would come out. Like no video packages. It was really weird. Like the only video package that we got was literally the ones that you guys saw was the Cody Rhodes one and the Randy
Yeah.
Orton, which that pissed me off even fucking more because like you're literally your story is right there, and yet you have this dumb schmuck in Pat McAfee doing this. Like that pissed me off even more. Um, And then they also did the CM Punk one, the CM Punk that they showed for his night 2 entrance, like the whole like images and stuff like that. They
Oh yeah.
showed that too. I was like, that's kind of weird. Like he's not even like a part of this night, so I don't know why you showed that.
But one thing I didn't catch most of the pre-show. I usually never do for any of these events because they're just if you cycle in the pre-show on top of your PLE, like you're gonna be sitting there for like 5-6 hours, and I ain't trying to do that. But I did catch like on Sunday, I caught like the last like 30 minutes of the pre-show or like 40 to 30 minutes of it. And that's where they were kind of like digging into the storyline. So I don't know
Yeah.
if they expect us to watch the pre-show to get the backstory. And I'm like, bro, I ain't doing this. I'm like, why can't you just give me like a quick minute, 2 minute right before the match? Um,
Yeah, and
yeah,
you bring up a
so
good point because when we were out there watching the pre-show, they did the Drew McIntyre and Jacob
yeah,
Fatu.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
they showed the whole package, and then Drew McIntyre did his interview backstage, and then that's when they brought out Shawn Michaels, and he did his own thing, and then they did the whole Danhausen thing. So like stuff that you thought you would see like in between the matches or in between the night, like yeah, like that was definitely saved off for the show. But yeah, it was like that in person too. Like they'll show ads. They ran the Hulk Hogan ad, I think like once or twice, and then like yeah, went straight to the next match. So it definitely was the same process. Again, the only video package they showed was the Cody Rhodes one, which that just pissed me off even more. But yeah, like in person, like leaving the stadium and like even Mrs. Moon said the same thing. Is like it felt just like a normal like PLE. Like I didn't
Really.
leave feeling like damn, like that was WrestleMania. Again, like I just talked about for the last like 10 minutes here. Like I'm not gonna let that affect my whole weekend, but definitely leaving the arena and getting back to the hotel is like I like really I felt like I really didn't see anything. Like and didn't like there were some good matches, don't get me wrong, but like yeah, like looking at this series of matches in the
Yeah,
timeline
I mean, honestly,
was
if it hadn't been for like Rollins and Gunther having like a really good match, like that card really suffered. I know we're gonna get into it here for a little bit, but like when it started off with the 6-man tag, which kind of projected like I was like it was a good way to get the crowd going. Probably I think that one was a good length. That one didn't need to
I
be
said
that
the same
long.
thing. I said the same thing.
But you could have done away with the Logan turn on ice show speed. Like that probably ate up like what 6 minutes, 7 minutes, maybe. Um, that you could have probably gave him to Liv and Stephanie, honestly. Um, the Drew Jacob match was solid, but nothing really screamed unsanctioned. Like it just seemed like a street fight, honestly, to me. When I was thinking about it, I was like, man, they should have like been in the crowd, they should have been backstage or something. Like nothing about that screamed unsanctioned. It was a little bit more of a of a street fight for me. Um, but I also don't know if that's what hurt, like, the time length-wise. Obviously, both nights, the first hour was on ESPN,
ESPN.
so
Yep.
you kinda have to get in and get out in that first hour, so I don't know if that kinda messed with it. Um, but I think even, like, when I talked when I talked to you after the WrestleMania, I think we were talking a little bit about the Fatal 4-Way, like, I think you said you left for a little bit,
Yeah.
and then you came back and the match was already over. Um, yeah, that match was, for different reasons did not like it, but
Yeah, like going through these time lanes here really quickly before we get into all
ugh,
that. Like the 6-man tag was 7 minutes and 8 seconds. The Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre was 14 minutes and 9 seconds. The Fatal 4-Way between the tag teams was 8 minutes and 33 seconds. Becky Lynch and AJ was 8 minutes and 15 seconds. Gunther and Seth Rollins was 17 minutes and 52 seconds. Liv Morgan, Sanford Kurt, which is absolutely fucking insane looking back at it here. 6 minutes and 51 seconds. That's absolutely insane. Then obviously your main event was 22 minutes and 44 seconds. And obviously we'll go time length over in night 2 in a little bit. Uh, but yeah, I don't know like what led into that. Like you bring up a good point. You could definitely make the case for the ESPN. You know, you have to get in and get out. Maybe that also explains why the unsanctioned match wasn't really unsanctioned because there's
yeah,
obviously
if you're on TV.
protocols and TV stuff that you have to follow. So maybe that explains it all as far as that. Because even after that, I was like, it's a good match. It was a solid match. But like, if you
Yeah,
look back at other like Drew, like look at his Hell in a Cell match against CM Punk. Like you compare that to that, like you could say that was like an unsanctioned match if you want to call it that. Uh, but yeah, you can definitely add into that. Um, and I agree with you 100%. The Usos and that was a perfect way to start off the match, start off the night and stuff. Everybody yeeting things like that. Obviously having a celebrity involved, you don't want to mix it in too too much with them. So obviously, having that moment. So yeah, I thought that was a perfect timeline for them. We just obviously talked about Drew and Jacob. Don't know there's too much there to talk about as far as that. The fatal four-way between the women here, Brie, Bella, and Paige. The Irresistible Forces, Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, and Bailey and Lyra. Great pop for Paige. I told him this movie. I was like, the fact that the Bella Twins are coming out late, or coming out before, or coming out after the champions, like that's when some shenanigans are going to happen,
Yeah.
or some foolery
As
was
soon
going to
as I
happen.
saw them, I was like, "Oh boy, here we go."
Yeah, and unfortunately, it did get leaked the day before that Page had resigned with WWE, so you kind of could put two and two together. I totally forgot. Not that I forgot. I know they feuded, but I totally forgot when they introduced like Paige, Becky, and all them. Like Paige was paired up with the Bella Twins. That's why at first I thought like that's kind of a weird pairing. If you actually go back and look at the lore, AJ Lee's last match was a tag team with AJ Lee and Paige versus the Bella Twins. I thought that was kind of weird. And I was thinking about it out loud, but they got
I
actually
think 'cause
they
she was
were.
part of the, Total Bella tag team
Yeah.
crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was like, I totally forgot about that, and you even forget that she was actually a total diva as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, that memory or that era of Paige kind of just goes off of my brain there. But yeah, obviously seeing her, that was really cool. Phenomenal pop. That was, yeah, that it was loud to me. And yeah, it was just overall just like great seeing her in the ring again and WWE as
Really
Paige,
quickly,
not Soraya.
how did you feel about, like, one member from each team in the
I personally liked it. I thought it
Yeah,
was
I thought
new.
it was I was surprised they never I always kinda irked me, like, if, like, 2 people and then you can tag anybody, kinda little irked me, but I was like, "Yeah, it kinda makes sense, and that's the way it should be," and then I did enjoy that little change they did.
Yeah, that's why when they started it off and I saw that, like, oh, like that's kind of cool. Cause like obviously I know the New Day did this in the past where like if you're smart, like just tag in your other member and then
Yeah,
pin each other and or like have one pin the other and then you can win the belt. Like because they're technically part of that tag team. So
yeah.
um so yeah, I thought that part was really interesting. Hopefully moving forward, they do that for both the men and women because I thought that was a very cool, interesting concept and a new twist on the mixed tag team matches there. Obviously the outcome, not the ones that we thought we would see. Obviously, we had all predicted here. I think a lot of us had predicted that, Bailey and Lyra would be the ones walking out as the women's tag team champions. Who knows if that was the plan before the Nikki Bella injury? Uh, Obviously, you could tell WWE is just kind of going for that instant reaction with Paige and Brie Bella. I honestly feel so bad for Bailey and Lyra 2 years in a row. Now, obviously Lyra won the belt last year. Specifically, Bailey again 2 years in a row where you're kind of just getting, the shit end of the stick where you're getting left off WrestleMania last year. Now this year you're back on WrestleMania, but now again getting affected by whatever this is. But yeah, I know obviously you probably have some more stronger thoughts than I do because I obviously you're a bigger fan of Lyra than I am. So don't know if you have any stronger thoughts here on a Paige and Brie Bella being your new tag team champions.
I was just more probably confused about why they were the ones to get the victory because I know, like, All In, like, they've talked about this numerous times that they came back to WWE because they wanna win the women's tag, specifically Nikki and Brie. They came back because they wanna win the WWE tag titles. Those weren't around when they were here, and so that's kinda like their mission to do. So to see Brie win it without Nikki is it doesn't make no sense, and so I don't know, like, why they just couldn't either A, just take them out completely, like we do like an injury angle and stuff like that, and just make it a threat, or B, just like swap them out for the Kabukis entirely. And if they really wanted to keep it fatal four way, so that was more my gripe for that. And then to see Alexa eat the pin too was kind of odd. Like I don't know
Yeah.
why it had to be her, or I don't know if that's going to lead to the breakup between her and Charlotte. I guess that's a wait and see kind of thing. But uh, yeah, just I think that's really more what irked me was just why they have to win like that when the goal of the Bellas was to win together and they're not together. I mean, I don't know how long Nikki Bella is going to be for, but I mean, if she's out for the foreseeable future, like I don't know, just very, 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 very odd. And I don't know if that's like you're saying they're just chasing the big moment, the pop, but um, I don't know. I think you could have saved a page return or for something else. Honestly, I don't know why it had to be on that, but what do I know?
Yeah, I had honestly had thought this would be a instant win for them, and then have the drop the belts to Bailey and Lyra on Monday Night Raw. That's what I thought the goal would be. Obviously, they didn't even have a match. They were in the crowd, like they didn't
Yeah, I
even
don't
have a
even
match
think they were
on.
there. Yeah.
So they didn't even have a match there on Monday night. Maybe on Friday, maybe potentially because obviously the titles get flipped or both on both brands essentially. So maybe that's the case there. But yeah, it didn't make any sense to me as well. I'm in the same boat. Like, I get it. I understand it. The instant reaction, the instant pop, social media, whatever. But yeah, just the pairing itself wasn't a big fan of that whatsoever. But again, nice to see Paige. She also has her Tops Now card too. So hopefully moving forward, we get to see more Paige cards in future WWE trading card products. Moving on, obviously Becky Lynch and AJ, not too much to write home about as far as that. I know I texted you off already, like, oh damn, I got to saw 1 year's concert too. I always miss the freaking 1 years when they come on tour. I know they got some shit on the internet. I guess the singer misses his
His
moment or something like that.
he totally missed the lip singing.
I couldn't
Yeah,
see
it
him.
was pretty
Obviously,
bad.
me being the section I was, I couldn't see. I was like, oh, damn, I got a free 1 year's concert too. Obviously, you could
Yeah.
tell it was very lip sync. Obviously, on our end, we didn't even hear him. But yeah, again, that one. th- I don't know what the status of AJ Lee is. She had some very interesting comments at the end. Uh, Post WrestleMania, I don't know if you saw the videos there. Obviously, in the ring, she
I
looked very
did. Yeah.
emotional. And then obviously their interview with Kathy Kelly, where she said like, the having all the kids, that was like the cutest entrance I've ever seen ever. With all those kids is like skipping and all that. It was very cute entrance. Like I don't know if it was like a thing where she kind of said in her interview where she said like she didn't get to say goodbye last time, so that this isn't a goodbye, but like a goodbye. Something I'm paraphrasing here, so I don't know what her contract looks like or her status looks like. Obviously, CM Punk, jumping ahead here, obviously he has already said that he's here for the long haul. He's going to be here moving forward, as he's talked about on Monday Night Raw. But yeah, very interesting comments from AJ Lee as far as of that. So going to be interesting how that plays out moving forward. Becky Lynch now a 3-time Intercontinental Champion, which I kept out to you, which you predicted here. So going to be very interesting to see where that title goes moving forward. And obviously, like we talked about here, really briefly, just on the time length, Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquer, 6 minutes and 51 seconds, absolute freaking criminal. I don't know, again, I don't know what it is. Like I said it. I think I told Mrs. Moon this. I feel bad, Mrs. Moon. She had to hear me rant for like 2.5 hours just getting back to the hotel. Like if you're gonna have these series of matches and they're gonna be this short, you gotta have more freaking matches on the card. Like there's no excuse to not have Tiffany and Julia on this card. The Kabuki Warriors, EO. Like if these matches are gonna be this damn short, you need to have more matches on the damn card. 7 matches at that length is absolutely criminal. I know we talked about in the past how that's 2 short matches when matches are like 20, 30 minutes. I get that. But when you're doing 7-minute matches, like it makes no sense. And for your women's world title, Liv Morgan's entrance was probably like 4 minutes, which I mean, that was a cool entrance, don't get me wrong, but it makes it makes no sense to me. Like it really does not.
Yeah,
There's
even the
really not.
reasons that I've seen, the reasoning that they're both banged up and they didn't want them to get further hurt, but then like jumping ahead, like Liv had like a 12-minute match sold on Raw. So yeah, it made no sense. And then like even like further dissecting it of how short this match was, like Maxine Dupree apparently a match main event that went 7 minutes. So to have your two of your top women's superstars, it being the Royal Rumble winner and your world champion, to have it go 6 minutes and some change is yeah, not good. I know when Liv first hit that first what is her move called, the Oblivion?
Oblivion.
Um I was like, all right, okay, like she's gonna get the kick out here, and then obviously the whole Judgment Day crew came out, and then like I'm setting it up, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, is it about to be over? And then I saw her she hit the second one, and Liv's finisher is pretty protected from like the part. I think only Rhea and now Stephanie have been like one of the ones to kick out of that. It's a very protected finisher. So when I saw her hit it that second time, I was like, yeah, it's over. I got up and I like went to the kitchen to get another freaking beverage. And I think even the wife looked at me after that. She's like, it's over. I'm like, yeah. I was like, I don't know what they're doing. I think that's when the real uproar online started to like really sink in. It's like, dude, at that point it was our time. It was probably maybe like around like 7:30. Um, and so I was like, there's no way in hell like this is gonna last another hour. I think it was done like by like 8:15 probably maybe our time.
Yeah.
Which would put it like around like 6-ish y'all's time, Vegas time.
Yep. 6:30. Yeah. Like
Uh
around 6:30,
yeah.
6:45. Yeah.
So I was like, man, what the hell am I supposed to do for the rest of the fucking night? Like it was crazy. Um like, and so just like I was like, if you're gonna do like again like these short matches, this is like you just got to go back to one night, honestly, because like if you go back like prior WrestleManias, like this is like how some of the matches were. They were just very short, but your event would run like 5 to 6 hours. So I was, they're gonna like if they're gonna now they're nickel and diming us for 2 nights, but we're not getting the quality and the length of it. Like it's just it's insane. It was honestly pretty crazy. So yeah, honestly, like jumping ahead to the next match, I think Randy Orton's probably entrance is probably as long as the match. That dude
A
took
fucking
forever to get to the
long
damn
ass,
ring.
yeah, the fucking long
Yeah.
ass intro. Again, told Mr. Mill like, dude, how long they played the fucking voices in my head song? It got looped like 4 times. I was like, how long is this entrance? And he didn't have anything special. He just had a special LED snake. Like that's
Yeah.
the only thing that was special about his entrance. There was no like special pyro. He wasn't being carried anywhere. Like it was nothing special. So I was like, dude, that's absolutely insane how long his entrance was. But obviously talking about entrances, Cody Rhodes, that was probably one of the
Oh,
coolest
yeah, that's pretty
entrances.
cool.
That was a
Yeah.
cool entrance. I started marking out when they started doing like all the eras of Cody Rhodes, the green tights with CR, obviously again showcasing his
Yeah.
first match against Cody. I mean against Randy, which again pissed me off even more because again your story was right there and you let it just slip through. Maybe now they can finally get to it potentially. Who the freak knows? Um, but yeah, showcasing that, the dashing Cody Rhodes with the mask, acknowledging Stardust. They've never really started away from Stardust, but obviously acknowledging that as well. Then obviously, getting to the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes itself. Again, know that match there got a little bit of flack. It started off a little slow. I'm not gonna lie, and then it started slowly picking up towards the end. Obviously, once they got the whole Pat McAfee shit away, that's when the match finally started kind of getting there. I know he got involved again towards the later of the match, and then obviously again got RKO'd by Randy Orton. Don't know how you felt about the main event itself. I know again, outcome wise, I had Cody, you had Randy, so I don't know if there was any shock in between that. Obviously, again, I know the one of the big things that came out of this whole match itself was kind of the Homelander Cody that we kind of saw being teased a little bit. The heelish kind of ways of we seeing that maybe he's finally starting to get there, even though I think Monday Night Raw kind of went away from that. So it's kind of confusing. We did see the punt kick return, which again didn't really do anything because we kind of thought like, oh, he's gonna be out for a while, concussion protocol. Yeah, he was on jumping ahead. He was on Monday Night Raw, letting CM Punk know that hey, whenever you want a belt to fight for me, yeah, hey, I'm here waiting for you. So like, kind of everything that kind of established on that night kind of went away on Monday. So again, doesn't really make any sense
Yeah.
as far as where they're going with that, but again, like I talked about, just seeing Cody and Randy in the ring going against each other for I think the first time since they did their crown jewel stuff or the King of the Ring stuff. That was really cool. I don't know. I don't remember the last time I saw Randy Orton wrestle in person as far as that. But yeah, I thought it was a fine main event. Again, I was just torn away from it just because again the whole Pat McAfee stuff. Glad it's gone. Again, don't know what the whole point of it was to because now
Yeah,
the
it honestly
stipulation
did.
was
It did nothing, honestly. Like
yeah,
it
like,
did.
and now with the
Yeah.
stipulation, that he's gone from wrestling, which he also, further explained on his podcast that he is gonna be, like, gone from wrestling, so, again, I don't know what this does, there was the rumors of the Jelly Roll match, I forgot about that too when I saw Jelly Roll, I was like, "Dude, like, I'm just fucking old." He had his own
Yeah.
fucking thing he had his own fucking thing at WWE World, I was like, "Dude, this is fucking insane." Like, it was just stupid. Like, I like Jelly Roll, he's one of the guys, again, celebrities that puts in the work, things like that. But when you're involved in a main event like this, like I was like, dude, like I'm just fucking over it. But overall, match was fine. I just think the celebrity involvement was what turned me away from this match overall.
Yeah, it was okay for me. It wasn't like not good, but it also wasn't like that bad. It did start off a little bit too low for me, for my liking, on to be honest. So that did kind of take me away from it. And then on top of that, like just being irked at previous match of how short it was, didn't help. And then just to see the way the Pat McAfee angle, kind of like the way you said, the way it played out, just made everything just more confusing, totally unnecessary. It didn't make me want to go on day to go see Pat McAfee show on ESPN to find out like what's really going on. Like it really didn't. I don't care. Um, yeah, so the whole involvement of it, it just it leaves a sour taste in my mouth if you want to put it like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, going back to the punt, how you said like back in 2009, we keep on referencing like '09 Randy and us before that. like back in those days, like when he punted you, like you were out for a good while, and like, he would punt like legends and current superstars and stuff like that.
He turned Husky
Uh,
Harris into Bray Wyatt. That's always the
yeah.
rumor.
So yeah. So I mean, it's just it is weird to it's kind of like they kind of want to erase night one in a sense. I know I saw on I think it was on Twitter, like they were saying like night one was TKO booking and night two was WWE's true creative booking. So it is kind of weird, like in like how everything kind of did a little bit get erased on night one because like even on Monday, like Stiff confronted Liv again, and you just see them, she's holding the belt like right in front of her face. So obviously that's not done. Cody came out, he had a big old black eye, but he's ready to defend the belt against Punk whenever he's ready. Um, but yeah, so total overall, I gave it 3 stars. I think I left a review. I called it Ad Mania. So, yeah. I mean, the ad even into night two, as we're gonna get into night two, the ads, whether they run the ads, didn't change. But I think match wise, there are some matches that could have probably gone still a little longer. Um, but it's just was a little bit better overall, like booked wrestling show. It was night one, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100% because heading into night two, we had Obafemi and Brock. That was 4 minutes and 4 minutes and 46 seconds. We had the IC ladder match. That was 15 minutes and 8 seconds. We had Trick Williams and Sami Zayn. That was 7 minutes and 7 seconds. We had the Demon Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio. That was 10 minutes and 27 seconds. We had Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill. That was 10 minutes and 8 seconds. And then obviously the main event, that was 33 minutes and 56 seconds. I was kind of going by, with each match here. Obviously, Oba and Brock. Obviously, when that match was announced, I didn't expect a 10, 15-minute match. Obviously, if you guys are aware of Brock Lesnar matches, they typically don't go that long. Obviously,
It
went
was
the way.
the way they did it was perfect. And I
Yeah,
think that kind of like set the tone for the night because like when Oba slammed him and like pinned him, like you can hear the eruption of the crowd and it was loud. And I think I even got pumped up. I was like, all right, now this is WrestleMania. Oh yeah, like they needed to start off strong, and then that was the way to go about it. Like they did that
yeah.
really well. Yeah.
Whoever produced that match, that was absolutely perfect. You had your minute standoff. You showcased Brock's strength a little bit. Didn't really affect Oba in the beginning of the match. Kind of showed the rookiness of Oba Femi, kind of getting a little bit overhead himself. Brock taking advantage of that, getting a little bit more offense, and then once again Oba, kind of taking advantage of that, doing the power bomb, his finishing move, and then getting the victory. Which I think a very cool point of that was towards the end of the match because even he looked surprised. Like that was enough. Like holy shit! It only took one finishing move to get him done. And then obviously towards the end of the match when Oba did like the invisible cowboy hat and put it on him
Yeah,
and then tipped it. The That was really cool. Obviously, thus leading here to the potential retirement of Brock Lesnar. We say potential because obviously I believe the rumor is that supposedly Gunther is going to torture Brock Paul Heyman for the next couple of months, and that's going to bring out Brock, and then thus
mm,
bringing his eventual retirement at SummerSlam in Minnesota. I know that's the
SummerSlam.
rumor right now. Don't know what that's going to look like. I know obviously Brock threw up the X as well, which if you're a wrestling fan, the X is more of like a real life thing, like something real is happening, something real just happened. And it's funny. I was talking about I was messaging the Slab Cartel, which I've been a guest on their podcast. I've been very adamant, and then I as well. I've been very adamant how we've not been the biggest fans of Brock Lesnar for you could talk about the out of the ring stuff, but in ring wise, I've just never really been a big fan of Brock Lesnar post like 2012, 2013. I was a youngin to go see like his 2002, 2003 stuff. Great work. Don't get me wrong. Like the Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Angle, like that. I'm a fan of, but the Brock Lesnar that I personally grew up with is like the 2012, 13, 14, 15 era Brock Lesnar. And I've just never was a fan of that. The series of before the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, the big dog matches, the squash matches with John Cena, the Undertaker. I've been very adamant. Like I've never been a fan of him breaking the streak. Don't think he needed it. You can make the argument. I know like always goes back and forth. But I think it's also like one of the things with Brock is what I talked about with Oba, and what I said in my message to him was like when Brock is interested in who he wants to work with, and he's interested and like involved in the person, and like knows what he wants to do with that person, like it's great work. Like going back to stuff with Drew McIntyre, you get to even talk about a little about his Goldberg stuff. Obviously with Oba, like you can tell like he was like invested in like I'm gonna do whatever I can to make you look good and propel you for the future. And I think that's the part that I'll miss about Brock is that when he's invested in a story, he's invested in this talent that he's working with. Like some of my favorite matches with him are like when he went against Daniel Bryan, when he didn't win against AJ Styles. Like those are some of my favorite matches to go back and just watch regularly because you can tell how like much invested and how much fun he was having wrestling those guys. So that was my whole thing with when his retirement. I don't think I was very sad like most people were. I think it's again part of my childhood where it's like we've seen some guys go. Cena, AJ, now Brock, potentially Rey Mysterio's on the cusp. Randy Orton's getting up there as well. So kind of seeing that era of wrestling kind of go away, I think is a sad part. But I think again, it's just one of those things where it's a little bit mixed bag with Brock for me, where again, not a really big fan of a lot of his most recent earliest work or later work. But again, when he's invested and like is fully involved in the storytelling and invested in who he's working with, like that's the Brock that I'll miss.
Yeah, I mean, I have obviously I'm older than you, so I do have like
Long
memories
stints.
of like young Brock. Like I remember when he took the title off The Rock at SummerSlam. I remember him on the cell match with The Undertaker. I think it was at Unforgiven or Vengeance. I
Unforgiven,
don't
like
remember which
I
one it
think
was.
03, I think.
When
Something like that.
Undertaker had the cast on his
Mhm.
and he was like literally just pounding him on it. Um, I remember his feud with Kurt Angle, and stuff like that. Eddie Guerrero, just rewatched that match not too long ago with this title match against Eddie when Eddie won it at No Way Out, I think in '04.
Before.
So that Brock do you remember, and that was a little bit. I was a little bit more of a fan there. Wasn't the biggest fan even then, um, but again, I do enjoy like those matches and those feuds are pretty cool. Obviously, when he came back, um, was a big moment. I just every time he came out, it always meant like something was coming. No pun intended. He's the next big thing, right? Um, and so it's just the way the later like the Vince McMahon booking, the way they booked him, everything was just so short. Like the way he ended like Kofi Mania, the Goldberg
Yeah.
matches, the Undertaker matches, like they were just too short for my likings. But like how you said, like when he actually wanted to put somebody over, like he did a damn good job at it. You talk about the Rumble with Drew and Drew eliminated him. Same thing again with Drew when he told him like to pick up the belt, put his foot
Back of
on
the belt.
him, like he did stuff
Yeah.
like that. He did the same thing Oba when he was here at the Raw here, told him to put your foot on me. He also, when you think about when he put over Cody, at SummerSlam and stuff like that. So like when he did wanted to work, and I think that's also the report that came out because there was always rumors that were saying that he wanted to go over at WrestleMania, but then now there's rumors coming out saying that Oba was handpicked by Brock and stuff like that. So um, what story's true? Who knows? I'll leave these for the Reddit journalists for or they call themselves. Um, but yeah, I mean, he had a hell of a career, and like I said, every time he came out, like you just knew like something big was about to go down. And so I will miss the unexpected pops. Like every time that music hit, and you weren't expecting, we're like, oh shit, like what the hell is gonna go on? Actually, funny enough, now that I think about it, he did do that at I think we saw Hell in a Cell here in 2016, 2017, I want to say. And that was like one of the times he came back, like, and it came out of nowhere. And I remember being like, oh shit, Brock's here. Like, and that was their life. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, had a hell of a career. Um, where this is gonna go, I have no clue, but we shall see.
Yeah, and I feel like I feel like we were in the same camp. Obviously, we kind of echoed like the same things about Brock, but yeah, it was just one of those things where I was like, damn, like it's another like piece of like growing up with wrestling, like that's gone potentially. We say that because
Yeah,
again, we really don't know. I know they did the video package for him on Raw, which was a perfect video package they did for him. So,
that was a good
yeah,
point,
so
man.
yeah, that was a good video package. Well, that's what I'm saying. When WWE wants to do, if there's one thing WWE still does good, it's those that goddamn video packages. There, excuse my French.
Yeah.
Uh, they could put together a good old video package there. The IC title match did everything that we thought. Again, kind of you can kind of
Ooh,
see the time lanes because I went back and rewatched the whole night too. I was kind of like in and out of the middle of the freaking sky. Didn't have Wi-Fi, so couldn't really see this match. So I went back and rewatched it. Now knowing the time constraints that they had, you can see like they're like obviously it's a very fast-paced match. There's a lot of fast-paced talent involved. Javon, Penta, JD, but you can tell, man, like they're just going and like rushing to these spots and like trying to get everything all in. If you go back and watch, you kind of just like see like the time period they were working with. But even with that, phenomenal match. Obviously, Penta still coming out victorious and still your IC champ. But yeah, that match did everything it was supposed to do. Showcase Javon Evans, highlight that he's potentially on the rise. JD had some good spots. I know Rusev was kind of like the outlier here, kind of portrayed into that, being the big meaty guy, kind of destroying all those guys. Um, a guy that I know you talked about him, I believe on the last podcast when we did our tops Chrome, or maybe 2 podcasts ago. Dragon Lee, man, like Dragon Lee is a guy like you want to watch out for, even when it comes to like his card stuff. Because like man, like given the graces of AJ Styles to continue to do the Styles class, like that was pretty cool.
yeah,
But yeah, man, like he was like heavily involved. Like usually maybe like a year ago, 2 years ago, he's a guy that you're not even thinking about to be put into this card, or he's involved and doesn't have a freaking entrance. But that's my biggest gripe with this. Why the fuck did these guys you can't even give them time for their entrances? That's one point I mentioned right
yeah.
on my I was like, God,
Dragon
man.
Rusev and JD got no entrance on stream. I think when they came back, I think JD was just getting to the ring, and I was like looking,
Yeah,
I was
he
like,
was.
oh, I was like, what the hell? I was like, they really no entrance these guys, and at that point, Dragon Lee and Rusev already had hit the ring. I was like, God
Yeah.
damn! I was like, they're that freaking anal about this damn shit. Like it was crazy,
Yeah, that's the one point I
very
meant
bad.
to bring up here. But I was like, yeah, that was absolutely freaking insane. But yeah, Dragon Lee, like I'm really, really excited for the rest of his year. I would think he's potentially in line for the IC title. Again, jumping ahead to Monday Night Raw, obviously there's a lot of talent that's involved for the IC title. So they'd be curious to watching that moving forward. But yeah, I think Dragon Lee, even though he did not come out victorious, obviously, Javon Evans, we know what he could do. But Dragon Lee was one of those guys that star that came out of this match. I don't know if there's any. Oh, and obviously, I forgot about Rey Mysterio too. I forgot he jumping out the sky again, like his freaking 2002, 2003. That was pretty cool to see that with this Deadpool inspired gear. But yeah, overall was a phenomenal match. They were supposed to do. Had some high flying spots there. Don't know if you have any key takeaways from that match there, but yeah, that match did everything that I thought it was supposed to do. And I think all the talent involved did what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I think it's probably honestly like probably one of the better multi-ladder man matches that I've ever seen. I think all the spots were done like to a T, like that Mexican destroyer Penta on JD, like they flipped and moved so well. I know probably the biggest gripe that everybody's given is that why did Rusev throw himself to Javon? It's like, all right, let's just chill out. Like, let's not nitpick every little goddamn thing that happens. So plus from when you look at it on TV, you can't really tell because you have to be there in person. You have to see like the Rusev angle, like kind of like just throwing
Yeah.
himself out there. But no, man, I enjoyed it a lot, and so it was a really good match. You can't be entertained though. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, the night two started off like to start off with the way Oba Brock did, and then to go immediately to this, like the night, the vibes were just like they were already like set so higher that it kind of like you may if that was WWE goal to like put the two matches on ESPN for free and just like, all right, now you want to watch the rest. Now you got to go, download this stupid $30 a month app. Like maybe night two did it. So
Yeah, I'm curious to see if we'll ever know that information, like how many people transitioned over. Like I know like viewership. I
I'm
know
sure
like I
it's
don't know
out
if
there, but I
I
doubt
don't know
they're
if
gonna
there's
release that. Yeah.
like I need to, I know something they still put the ratings out there. Like I know it's probably tougher now, especially like Netflix and like subscriptions and things like that. But like
I'm sure
I was
they
just thinking,
have like data that shows like how many more subscription plans they were sold or bought like within like after so many minutes or hours after that. I'm sure it's out there, but I doubt we'll ever get that. There ain't no way.
yeah, those are numbers that I'm always curious to know about here. Next match here, keeping it with the mid card titles, we got Trick Williams defeating Sami Zayn for the United States Championship. Thought for it being a 7-minute match was a fine match. Again, showed the more aggressive side of Sami Zayn, which is definitely going to be something to keep an eye out for moving forward. especially with this Friday night SmackDown coming up. Even attacking Little Yachty for no reason. Like he's the one that kind of started all that. Like he just attacked Little Yachty was out there supporting his dog, man. And like, he just
Yeah.
attacking him for no reason. Like damn. So a lot more aggressive side from Sami Zayn here, which was nice to see. Obviously playing into that story a little bit there. Obviously, Trick Williams, still being the quote unquote heel, getting, a little bit of assistance from Little Yachty after the attack, which I think if you look at it from that perspective, is definitely warranted. Like, hey, you're gonna attack me, I'm gonna get you for my guy. So it definitely makes sense here. But yeah, man, Trick Williams in that long ass freaking fur coat. So
Yeah.
I'm happy for Trick. Again, it's one of those guys where you're watching him down at NXT for so long, and like to see the instant rise that he's had and the instant success that he's having. I'm just so happy for the guy. I'm happy to excited to see what he does moving forward. I know he's already went on a quote saying like he's not going to continue with the U.S. Open challenges because like he's like a mega star and he protects his body of work. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes moving forward. Do you run the Carmelo back? Do you get him involved? I think that would be, obviously they hinted at that as well. They're all the history that they have in NXT. I'm pretty sure Sami Zayn is going to be clamoring for a rematch. So do you finally do that triple threat at Backlash? Which that is shaping up, if that's the way they go, to be a pretty exciting card. This, looking briefly what we'll set up on Monday and hopefully what's going to lead up here on Friday. But yeah, I think that match is a little bit too short, to really write home about as far as that. But yeah, obviously very happy and excited to see Trick Williams coming out here as the victor and as your new U.S. champion.
Yeah, it was a good match. Probably could have been maybe just a tad bit longer, but again, I'm not gonna sit here and nitpick over stuff like that when the card was just a little bit, the match quality was a little bit more better this time around, or night two was at night one. But yeah, it was an obvious outcome. I remember I said I picked Sammy, but like had they were gonna like feed on this more heelish side and feed into like the whole negativity of Sammy and stuff like that with the crowd, which I think he did get quite a bit of booze when he came out.
Yeah, he did get some booze. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not surprised that Trick came out, and so yeah, I'm gonna be curious to see that where they go with this. But I am liking the trend of like getting away from the open challenge and kind of be like, hey, you kind of have to earn your shot, not just willy nilly just show up and whatever. So yeah, I'm excited to see where they go.
Yeah, as much as I'm a fan of the open challenges and I love a good graps match that we saw, with Carmelo and Ilya, like there comes a point where you need a little bit of a story and like a little bit of a back end. Like there's only so much like matches you could run against people. So
Yeah.
like I'm actually in the camp of like, all right, let's get away from it a little bit. Obviously you can do that if you need to, but I mean if there's a story with Sammy, Carmelo, like I'd rather see that being ran than just seeing a string of baby faces coming out, losing in a heelish tactic way or whatever the case may be, and then obviously just running that back for multiple weeks. So I think Carmelo even said the same thing, like he's fine with the U.S. challenge, open challenges, but he wants like something that has a little bit more meaning and stuff like that moving forward. Again, nothing wrong with a good grab smash. Don't not get me wrong, but I think that there comes a point where there needs to be a little bit of a backing, a backbone to those matches moving forward. A match you could say that had a little bit of a backbone here was Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill, with Rhea Ripley coming out victorious and becoming your new women's championship match. Probably one of Jade's better showings. Again, not really crazy to say because she doesn't have a lot of, it's kind of crazy to think about. She doesn't really have like a lot of series of single matches. Even when she was champion, didn't have a lot of series of single matches. Actually had a lot more of her tag team matches with Bianca, which you can protect yourself when you're in a tag team because you're not getting that much in ring work. But arguably one of Jade's better in ring work. Obviously, it was very obvious that I think to almost everybody. I know we both predicted Rhea to come out on top as well. So happy for Rhea. Going to be interesting to see. I know there's potentially some SmackDown call-ups that can, freshen up this SmackDown women's roster. But I think it went the way that it should have because, again, we've talked about it here. That SmackDown women's roster just needs some fresh faces. It needs some energy back into that division. I think Rhea Ripley is the perfect woman to do that.
Yeah, agreed. There was Jade's better, or probably one of her best showings. I don't know what other one comes to mind, honestly. But I think she even mentioned that too. I think I don't know, it was an interview saying that she wished she had like a little bit more single action, that she wanted to have more matches. I don't know if that just falls on creative's fault because I know there's always the rumblings about the creative on SmackDown of how bad it's been. So could have something to do with that. I know she also said that she can see this title reign as kind of like a kind of in my own words, like an appetizer in a sense, like this is just the beginning and stuff like that. Stuff that she could build on. So It's gonna be curious to see what they do with her, if they're gonna continue with having her, team up with Michin and BFAB. Now that Rhea's on SmackDown full time now as the champ. Like I said, there's rumblings of some call ups, and it looks like there's probably also going to be like a roster shakeup. I don't know if it's whether going to be of a draft or if it's kind of just like, all right, everybody do whatever they want. I know they also like, I think before in the past, like brands have done like trades in a way.
Trades.
So I don't know if maybe like, jumping ahead, like Jacob Fatu going to Raw, like does SmackDown get somebody? Like, I don't know. Um, so I guess it's kind of just wait and see. But yeah, this was the right decision. It had to be Rhea, and so I'm glad they did it. And hopefully, um, if there's anybody who can like establish or set grounds for like a dominant women's division and a reign, it's gonna be Rhea. So
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think the only sad part is that this is now officially the breakup of Rio, which we did
yeah,
see officially jumping ahead again on Monday Night Raw. That sad goodbye killed me a little bit. I always feel bad for Io, man. Like she always like is getting the brunt end of the sticks, always getting beat up for the involvement she's having with her friendship with Rhea. So yeah, the fact they had their official goodbye,
no
kind
more
of
Rhea.
no more Rio, so I kind of broke the heart there a little bit. But yeah, I think it did everything it was supposed to do here. Now, if we call that the appetizer, we now go to the main course, that being the main event of Roman Reigns and CM Punk. I landed right when the main event was starting. I just finished Roman Reigns' entrance, and then I saw CM Punk's entrance. Man, that shit gave me goosebumps on a fucking airplane. Like I got teary eyed just like watching that because that is a guy that we literally grew up watching and like seeing. Again, that's what that video package did, just showing all the different versions and the growth that we've seen from CM Punk since he came to WWE, back in 2006. It was just super awesome to see. Obviously, it being involved with the AFI theme song as well. I know we kind of had a hunch that was going to be coming. I know he kind of teased it a little bit a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, that song also being involved in 2K. That does show that WWE did have or acquired the license to use the song. But yeah, man, that entrance from both Reigns and CM Punk, like those were just phenomenal entrances. Set the tone that this is a big fight. And yeah, man, like I'm not even like again just talking about here how much of a fan of CM Punk fan. As much as I'm upset about the outcome, like that match is just like fucking phenomenal. Like there's nothing that I can think of that is better. Maybe WrestleMania 40, Cody and Reigns night 2, maybe, but like that, but a point I always bring out with that match is just because all the involvement that they had.
All the
I get it.
involvement, yeah.
I get it. It's bloodline rules and things like that. CM Punk and Roman was just a straight up like wrestling match, a story behind it, and that's it. Like there was nothing else. There was no celebrity involvement. There was no outside factors. You can talk about the no DQ stuff. I was like, kind of like, what the fuck is going on here with that? But I
Yeah.
know Michael Cole kind of hinted a little bit. He's like, oh, the referee's giving a little bit of leeway. He fucking hit him with some steel steps. Let's get a little bit real here.
Yeah.
There's leeway and there's, a fucking DQ. So, and if you want to get real nitpicky with it, that's obviously something you could talk about. But yeah, man, like that was like again, as much as I'm upset about the outcome, I know Roman had some comments. I know I put out a tweet, saying like they gave a belt to a part timer. I know he's already made some comments. He's going to be here all summer. Time will tell if that's real or not. But yeah, man, just from start to finish, like that. If you want to show somebody a wrestling match and say like this is what's going to get you to watch wrestling, I would not hesitate to put this match on. It was absolutely perfect. It again, outcome aside, it was absolutely one of the best things I've ever seen. Dirty produce in a very very long time.
Yeah, I mean, I'd echo everything you said. I think everything was just like everything was spot on. And I know, um, like when that song hit from the AFI song, I was like,
Doom, doom,
oh
doom,
man, yeah.
doom, doom, doom,
I knew
doom.
we were, I
Like,
knew we were
oh
down for business, and now I kind of like the way they did it, where like they gave him a little like it was all quiet, and then he got to yell his clobbering time, and then it started.
yeah,
I wish they would have put this fire burns just for just the hell of it, but I know they did that last year, so I don't know, maybe that's why they didn't want to do it, but yeah, I mean, there's nothing really bad about that match. I know, like when they both hit their finishers on each other, I looked over to the wife. I was like, all right, man, next finisher's gonna win. And I did like the way they did the false like GTS, where we saw with Ambrose and Ambrose, we saw with Moxley in AEW, and then we saw with Rollins on the Netflix day premiere, um, when Punk hit the GTS on Roman and he kind of hit the ropes and just calls him, goes on it, and then just like falls into his shoulders. I got up for I jumped up. I was like, oh my god! I was like, he's gonna end it all three of them like this, and then to kind of just see him like just like frail and like in a weird way that's kind of like he kind of did what Vince wanted. He made Roman look strong in a way where if you really think about it, this is like Roman's like first true like clean victory where like there's no interference from anybody on his end, and he beat him cleanly. Like obviously there was a steel steps thing, but like CM Punk low blowed him and stuff like that. So you know he finally got that clean victory that I think was always the gripe about his 1400-day reign was like there was always somebody involved in one way, shape, or form that he can never really beat anybody cleanly. And so like to have finally Roman go ahead and get the clean victory over Punk is in a way kind of poetic and at the way it did it. But yeah, as soon as I saw Punk hit the floor and drop him, I was like, oh, he's done. He's gonna lose this one. And sure enough, yeah, one super spear later, Roman got the 1, 2, 3, got the belt, and yeah, I was a little heated first, but that was the same thing. I was like, why are they going to give it to a part timer and stuff like that? But I think he had addressed it on the post show that he was going to be there all summer, and then I think he echoed the same thing on Raw. But yeah, I have no complaints on it. I agree with you. Like if there's a match that you want to show somebody who knows nothing about the WWE, I think this is probably one of the matches you want to show.
Yeah, I same thing. Once I saw him fall, once Roman bounced back from the ropes and he fell, like, dude, that's it. I was like, he beat Rollins with it. He beat Mox with it at AEW. Like once he collapsed, like I was like, dude, I knew he was cooked. I was like, oh my god, like, this is gonna be it. And yeah, I was heated for a little bit, and then obviously seeing his post comments saying that he's gonna be here all summer. Then obviously talking about it on Monday Night Raw as well, establishing the bloodline, jumping ahead, potentially again. So yeah, I mean, if that's where they're gonna go with it, I'm curious to see where Punk does moving forward. I know they kind of teased the Cody thing. I don't know, I don't think Randy and Cody are nowhere near done. So that's gonna be interesting to see. Does that open the door for CM Punk to jump to Friday Night SmackDown? Obviously, with AJ Lee being gone, she was on Monday Night Raw. Obviously, they don't have that anymore. So I know they like to keep their couples together. So, now that's out of the window now. So maybe that opens up the window for Punk to jump over to SmackDown. Who the hell knows? I'm curious to see where Punk goes because they really didn't establish anything. They just, let that door open, let that be known, like, hey, like, whenever you want to come for me, like, I'm here. So, yeah, it's just going to be, there's a lot of interesting ways that he can go. And obviously, Monday Night Raw, that main event or ending segment here establishes Roman Reigns' next feud heading into Backlash. But yeah, if I was to give WrestleMania, as a whole a grade, I give it like a C plus esque night one, kind of like a 2.5 stars, C minus. Night two, obviously, minus again from the length of the match. I think all the outcomes are perfect. Give that like a B plus, maybe A minus potentially. So kind of giving it in that middle term grade, potentially. But yeah, I again, there's no more words that I can say about that main event. It's again just absolutely perfect. And I know we've kind of briefly have talked about and referenced a lot of things that happened in Monday Night Raw. The big key takeaways here for me, as far as the Monday Night Raw, was the call-ups here that we have. Obviously, here we have Ethan Page, who was spotting the Raw official debut on his boot there, is officially now on Monday Night Raw. Immediately be thrown into the IC title picture that was fun. Great match with Javon Evans. Obviously has a lot of history with Javon Evans down in NXT, so that obviously makes sense. Soruka officially now joining the Raw brand as well. And it was also officially confirmed that Joe Hendry will officially be making his debut on Raw next week with this concert. Obviously, we saw Soruka losing tonight on NXT in her last woman standing match against Zarya, so technically, quote unquote, writing her off for NXT. And then we saw Joe Hendry get his absolutely ass kicked by Keanu James. So that's setting him to go off and go do his concert on Monday Night Raw. Did get some returns as well. We got the Street Profits officially returning to be involved in the tag team picture. I think that tag team division absolutely needed that. Don't know if that's an official pairing with Seth Rollins. Don't think it is. I think it's more of like, hey, we need a tag team.
I think it's more for the tag teams. Yeah.
Go help them out there. So that was it. totally failed to mention here the return of Braun Breaker on night one. So
Mm.
Braun Breaker thus coming back. No Gunther involvement there as far as the sets were on. So again, kind of interesting if that's just a one-off. I know Gunther well already teasing there, being involved there for the World Heavyweight title against Roman Reigns. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I'm excited for those call-ups there, man. Ethan Page, again, I've been a big fan of Ethan Page. We both are. We've echoed that on this podcast. I think he's a guy in the card market that's very undervalued. So Ruka has had somewhat of an established market. I think her market's going to continue to rise because that match with Liv Morgan was absolutely phenomenal. It just being like 12 minutes, like she's already showcased all of her talent in the Royal Rumble, her match against Bayley, but she showed it again that the way she reversed the Oblivion, that was fucking sick. Like I've
Yeah.
never seen it. That was freaking cool. I know my wife is like torn apart because she loves Soruka, she loves Liv Morgan, so they got her hooked. When WWE has my
Trouble,
wife hooked,
trouble.
yeah, my wife was marking out for that. Mrs. Moo was marking out for trouble. That's me. She just bought her skin on Fortnite too, as we recorded this this podcast. But yeah, that was phenomenal, and I'm curious to see what Joe Henry does moving forward. I know we kind of what really is he going to bring? It's going to be interesting to see moving forward. Again, I know his top scrum stuff has been moving. He's going to be in future pods. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit, but don't know if you have anything there on Monday Night Raw potentially as far as of call-ups. The match that we saw return Street Profits. I know we kind of briefly already talked about it too. Jacob Fatu establishing himself as the first challenger for Roman Reigns, and that bloodline that's been established again. I'm excited for that. But yeah, I thought it was overall a very, very good post-Raw. Post Mania. I know in the past it's kind of been one of those hit and misses type thing. I think this one here was definitely a hit for sure.
Yeah, I think I even tweeted it after the show, like this after the episode of Raw, like it felt like a fresher breath of air. Like we had just with like the few call-ups that there were, like it felt like the rivalries in the title picture just like shifted just like 180, even though it's just a couple of people here and there. Like that's just I don't know. It was good storytelling that day. And so I'm excited to see obviously as we get to SmackDown, like who's gonna jump ship over there. Like obviously they need some help over there as well. So like could we see, like I know we've been talking about it for forever, but like JC Jane and Fatal Influence, like we talked about them possibly getting called up. So is that a SmackDown move? Like does she just automatically just confront like Rhea or something like that, or run into for a second, I thought when Rhea was walking backstage and like they showed Liv on the side, like before they showed it was Liv, I thought it was gonna be like JC or something and like just like walking past by her. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see who SmackDown gets, because I know there's also talks about like Ricky Saints possibly going to SmackDown. I didn't watch NXT today, so I don't know what his role was on the show or what he did. But yeah, there's also like I said, there's to move just people who are on Raw over there. So like, are we going to see like a CM Punk possibly go over there? You can honestly move Bayley and Lyra over there. Like that would jump the women's division too. Those are two top middle tier, big faces that you can just instantly just slide into like feud with Julie and stuff like that for the US title. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens on Friday. See who gets the nod over there. But yeah, I'm excited to see this all up. It seems like Backlash is leading. I think we're like 3 weeks away probably already at this point.
Yeah, I think it's May.
From Backlash.
I think it's like May something. Like yeah, it's like the first week of May or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, it's about like 3 weeks out. So, yeah, looks like they're gonna have to start shaping this card pretty quick. But I mean, from what the rumors are, the match is, seems like it's gonna be a good card. So I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, I think I think the call-ups that I would predict, I know they for NXT tonight, Ricky Saints didn't have a segment from if I recall. They just announced that he had a match with Shiloh Hill, which if there's going to be a guy to write off a superstar, it's going to be Shiloh Hill, whatever all the weird shit that he's been doing. Kidnap him. I know they did that last week. He drug him under the ring and drug him backstage with a rope. So if there's going to be a guy, a perfect example to write off a talent, it's going to be Shiloh Hill. Which it seems like WWE's like heavily like invested in him a little bit. Like he was involved in the Andre Giant Battle Royal. He was at WWE World. He had some involvement in there. So it's like WWE is a big fan of him, which I'm a fan of him as well. It kind of gives me a little bit of a brighter Bray Wyatt. Obviously, Bray Wyatt being on the darker side, Shiloh Hill being on on a little bit of a brighter side. But I would hate to see him. I do love the pairing of Shiloh Hill and Tatum Pike. I think they're like the most like perfect parents. If you can keep them two together. as much as possible. I think that's absolutely perfect. But yeah, I think Fatal Influence would not surprise me if they are on Friday Night SmackDown. They were not on episode of NXT tonight, so it wouldn't make sense as far as that. Obviously, JC Jane also did lose her rematch against Lola Vice, so there's really no reason to keep him down there. And based on that, no mention of Fallon Henley, no mention of Laney Reed. I know that's been something we've been talking about. Like, do you call up all three of them at the same time? It seems like that's going to be the move. So that's something to be very excited to watch. I think another person that, or another superstar that would be called up is going to be Blake Monroe. You kind of quote
Mhm.
unquote wrote her off today. She did lose her casket match against Tatum Paxley. So if there's going to be someone to also jump ship, I think it's going to be Blake Monroe. I think she's kind of been due for that. I know we kind of talked about her losing the North American Championship in such a mistake way, but I think that honestly could have maybe helped her a little bit because she probably would have been down there a little bit longer. And I've always said I think she's one of those talents that didn't really need to be down at NXT. Quickly learn the WWE way and then go up to the main roster. And I think that's absolutely perfect for her. So, and I think she'll definitely excel on that brand. If that's being thrown immediately into a feud with Rhea, I don't think that would be perfect. But if you want to do that, sure, why not? If you want to throw her in the U.S. title with, Julia, Tiffy, could definitely do that as well. I think that would be exciting. So yeah, there's definitely different ways to go. The men's side, yeah, I think Ricky Saints could be a nice little talent down there. I just think, man, that NXT men's talent is going to be hurting. It's been hurting for a little bit, but man, if he's supposed to follow ship with Ethan Page on the opposite brand, yeah, they're going to need some guys to to really step up there. But yeah, I would not be surprised if he has some sort of a segment down on Friday Night SmackDown. But again, he will be one of those few superstars to excel in that brand. I think that brand definitely needs as much help as possible. But yeah, that was WrestleMania. Again, that's weekend. Post Mania again, Friday Night SmackDown obviously has not happened. You're actually listening to this episode the day that it records, so maybe we predicted it. And obviously, we'll come back here next week and talk about that moving forward. To head into some hobby talk here before we wrap up this podcast. During WrestleMania week, obviously superstars are in person. Tops can easily get these cards signed. We did get some sneak peeks here of Top Stadium Club. So Top Stadium Club here is officially coming. According to Charles Robinson, his Instagram post, these cards may be coming in August. TBD on that. It is going to be a mix of Stadium Club paper and chrome because Trick Williams did sign his Topps chrome card at Superfractor with the inscription. So and that's the way they've been doing this Top Stadium Club. Before they used to just do the paper version, and then they had the chrome version. But now Topps being Topps, they just combined it all in one. Was like the chrome or like short prints now, or they're like one every 4 packs or something like that. But I know we're talking about it here, and we've echoed on this podcast. Stadium Club is one of our favorite sets. Actually, the next set we're going to talk about too is one of our
Mhm.
other favorite sets too. And I actually made a video like about a year ago at this point, or like half a year ago, when WWE Slam did the Top Stadium Club. I was like, they need to make this as a set. And sure enough, here it is. Don't know if you have any early thoughts here. Again, a little bit tough to talk about it just because, again, we don't have like a date. Again, mine is from Charles Robinson, but we don't have like a box configuration. I would hope there is going to be retail products of this. We do see this here on typically with Stop Stadium Club. There's blasters and megas. They did it for both obviously they do that for the baseball format. They did it for the USC formats as well. Hobby boxes are traditionally a little bit affordable. Just because there's a lot of autos that are mixed in. We saw some referee signings. So if that's your auto, potentially you're not doing well, but there is auto potential. We do know AJ Lee is also going to be in Top Stadium Club, so that's a big name as well. But yeah, overall, Top Stadium Club, I'm excited for it. That's a set that I was clamoring to hit the WWE line, and I'm glad that it's hitting the line, and it seems like it's going to be coming in the middle of the summer. So I think it's going to be an exciting set for, I think, all collectors, season collectors, new collectors who maybe are not familiar with Stadium Club to get into just because for its photography. But yeah, I'm really, really excited for Stadium Club.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Stadium Club, specifically from the baseball side. Like, it's like you said, it's known for its like really good photos and renders that they use. They kind of use like some pretty crazy renders. I know like we talked about this in the past compared to like Panini Photogenic. So that's kind of like where it is. I really hope it does stay on the affordable side. I think, if I'm not mistaken, like hobby baseball like would stick around like the 140, 50. I may be wrong, maybe off a couple dollars. But typically what it's around. And same thing, like there's always a lot of retail. So I hope they do follow that format, but again, we'll just have to wait and see what they do. But yeah, I think they also I think there was some universe too, if I'm not mistaken, like for next year, I
Yeah.
guess already. But
Yeah, they're already signing for 2026 Universe. I believe I saw Alicia Taylor signing her
yeah,
cards, and then I saw Bailey already signing her relics already. So they're quickly moving, guys. I know we've since the start of this podcast, we're talking about how there's not enough WWE product, the delays and all that. Obviously, I think Topps has had a little bit to learn. They've had some growing pains with this license. Not the first time they've had it, but there's obviously some growing pains they're going to have as a company. They're at this time last year and this compared to this year. There's a different company, obviously, with Fanatics and all that kind of good stuff, and all the other major licenses that they have. Now acquiring the football license, now having the basketball license, obviously still having MLB, but also having
thank God we
F1.
ain't paying those prices. Woo-wee.
Yeah, those as much as we complain about the football price, guys. If you ever want to see some crazy shit, go look at the football price. $1,000 for a normal hobby box, guaranteed. I think 2 autograph or 1 autograph, absolutely freaking insane.
It's like a four. I think I read it's like a 400 base set. I'm like, holy moly, that's a
Yeah,
big
that
set list.
yeah, that's yeah,
Oh, a lot of chrome.
yeah, from FDI. I think FDIs are doing like $4,000 a box, jumbos, megas. Yeah, the Breaker Delight hangers, absolutely freaking insane on what those boxes are doing right now. Another set here that we did get a preview of at courtesy of some superstars here, and we did get official pre-order date. It's 2026 Topps Cosmic Chrome, so that is officially coming. We heard some rumblings, but now we got official confirmation. It is coming by Topps. We did see some early sneak peeks courtesy of CM Punk. He was signing his Topps Cosmic Chromes, but today, earlier in the evening here, Topps did confirm that Cosmic Chrome is coming. Pre-orders are officially going to be available April 27th at 12 p.m. Box configuration, price points yet to be announced here. We do know right now it is going to be a 200 card base set. We are looking for inserts called Galaxy Greats, Galactic Showdowns, and more. We're also be keeping out some rare cases, including Light Years, Cosmic Dust, Hypernova, and Geocentric. Also, the Planetary Pursuit challenges, which obviously, if you're not familiar, it goes all the way from the Sun all the way to Pluto. Pluto being the rarest one. Those are some of the cards to look out for. We did get some sneak peeks of it here. We've got the Planetary Pursuit. We had the Neptune of AJ Lee, Light Years of Stone Cold, Equinox Autograph of Penta, sick freaking card, Geocentric of Roman Reigns. Yeah, again, one of our other favorite sets here. Again, traditionally found in the baseball line. I know they also did it for basketball as well, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Again, such a great looking product. Again, if you're a fan of Chrome and love this stuff, Cosmic Chrome is definitely for you. Again, another set that was on Top Slam that I made a video about that I was like praying that they wish to make a set for, and it's coming in physical format. Again, these boxes are typically a little bit more expensive. When Cactus Jack was coming out, I was always comparing it to that because it's one of those boxes comparing it to the baseball line. You're not guaranteed an autograph. You're guaranteed some colors, some parallels, but you're not guaranteed anything. So these boxes, if they keep up with the same format, which I do think they are, because Topps is one of Topps's main goals with acquiring all these licenses, is they want to keep everything like in format and traditional. So I would think it's going to be the same thing where you're not guaranteed a hit. You're going to get some nice colors, some nice looking base cards, some nice looking parallels, but you're not guaranteed anything. It is 2026, like I just mentioned, so it is up to date. So it's not going to be 2025. I know one of the previews that we got was Joe Hendry on the blue out of 99, so it is going to be very up to date. So again, very very excited for that. Don't know if you have any early impressions of Top Cosmic Chrome. Again, I know a little bit tough because you don't have a price point or a checklist, which that will be coming hopefully pretty soon. Oh, maybe next week's episode potentially if we get some official confirmation on that, or maybe we'll do a bonus pod depending on whenever, if we do get some stuff leading up to the release date, because that release date is or pre-order date is officially next Monday. But any thoughts there on Topps Cosmic Chrome?
Yeah, it's a really nice looking set. It's very colorful. I think like describe you said it. I think it's obviously going to be replacing the format of like Cactus Jack, where you're not really guaranteeing anything. I think if I'm not mistaken, on the baseball side, I think you're per case, it's like 3 to 4 autos. So that's kind of scale it is. And I think like the best way, like I could probably put it, like it's obviously like it's to me, it's like universe steroids. Like it's all chrome. and stuff like that, but you still get the same weird like galaxy stuff and these electric beams and sunburst red or some stuff like that. Like it's kind of it's like that. So to me, it's like universe on steroids. So if you like the universe, you're gonna like it, but you're just it's gonna be a little bit harder to get hits in a sense, and obviously it's gonna come at a price point. If I'm not mistaken, I think when baseball drops, I think it's like around that 320, 330, 340 price
Yeah.
mark. So I would not be surprised if it is that price at pre-order. And so if I'm right, you can clip this right here and post I got it right. But I'm expecting it somewhere around there. And so I'm ready, especially if you're just strictly WWE like and you're new to it or you're a veteran in it and you're not too familiar with the cosmic price point, it might turn you off a little bit, and especially when you're not guaranteed, it likes their guaranteed autos and stuff like that, especially like when you're with Chrome and then you go to this and it's a little bit it's more expensive and you're not guaranteed. It can turn some people away. I can already see the rumblings on the angers and the pitchforks on Twitter clamoring about this. So um yeah, but I mean, other than that, it's a really nice set, and so I'm excited to see how it looks. And I know the one we saw was CM Punk. We saw his autos and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm excited for it. So let's see how it goes. I mean, I didn't expect it to drop quick. Say that. So, but
Yeah,
here we are.
neither did I. Yeah, neither did I was like, we barely saw our first rumblings of this product literally last in the middle of the week, like Wednesday or Thursday. And then I think I sent you a screenshot on Wednesday 'cause I was still in town on Wednesday and I was getting ready to leave Thursday. So yeah, I think it was Wednesday, almost a week before we were getting some officially rumblings. We saw the sneak peeks, and then yeah, here it is. Boom, another bombshell dropped on us. So yeah, again, guys, that pre-order date is a February. I'm not where the hell am I thinking February? April 27th. I don't know where the fuck I got February from. It's late. So April 27th, next Monday, is when this pre-order here is going to be released. Again, hopefully we have a checklist announced. Maybe we'll do a bonus pod potentially if that was to come out. Box configurations, we get all that stuff before the release date. Maybe we'll get a bonus pod. If not, there definitely will be a YouTube video out just by myself. So to make sure you keep an eye out for that. Make sure to subscribe, follow, all that good stuff here. But before I officially wrap everything up here on my end, Bro Pio, any final thoughts here for the good old listener of collecting the 1, 2, 3?
I don't got much, but we totally passed by it. The Demon returned at WrestleMania to fight Dominic in the street fight.
Oh
That was a pretty
shit,
good
yeah.
match. But we got the return of the Demon finally, and so yeah, I'm excited that he's finally on his own and stuff like that. I also never laughed so freaking hard at Danhausen on Sunday. That was I was laughing my ass off the whole damn time. Then just to even see like the clip of like him like chasing John Cena in the
John Cena in
cart.
the go-kart.
I'm dying. They have top style cards of these moments. I think I'm gonna probably have to pick up a Danhausen single. I think it says like Shufflehausen or five Shuffle or something like that. Um, I don't know, but it was freaking hilarious as hell. But other than that, yeah, I don't. That's all I got. I mean, I think I'm just gonna get ready for. I know we got what royalty coming up. I don't know how much I'll participate in because I'm expecting it to be pretty pricey. I think if it's like anything like the way UFC was, I think it was like a little bit over $500. So, um, yeah, let's see how that goes. But I know that's coming in soon. We got a lot of new stuff coming out. So, yeah, just keep track of all the socials. I know you pretty good at doing your daily TikToks to keep the good people informed. And then we just come on here and ramble about a good hour and a half, and so. But yeah, that's all I got, man.
Yes, and you bring up a good point there. Yeah, royalty is scheduled for May 1st. That is going to be 2 weeks from now. So actually, the week of the pre-order of Topps Cosmic Chrome, May 1st will be the official release date of royalty. Obviously, if you guys have been following the content, that is going to be the set that has the WrestleMania patches. So everybody that participated, that was involved in WrestleMania last year, will be in the set. So maybe a little bit outdated. Karen Cross is expected to have a debut patch he had on his T-shirt. So guys like that, Scarlett, people that are that were involved last year on WrestleMania that are no longer with the company, they will be in this set. So do expect some outdatedness of that set.
Mm.
I would expect a similar universe checklist. Based on what I've seen, it's a lot of obviously like we've all seen it. It's a relic, really heavy relic based set. So just keep an eye out there for that. Yes, it's going to be very, very expensive, which also brings up a good point that obviously that since WrestleMania hasn't concluded, is now officially WrestleMania buyback season. So of course, if you have any Roman Reigns and Liv Morgan cards, go through that bulk. I did make a video about it earlier, but of course we'll talk about it here on the pod really quickly. If you have any base cards or Liv and Roman Reigns, that's going to be $20. Refractors is $40. Numbered cards greater than 100, you're looking at $100 in store credit. And numbered less than 100, you're at $200 in store credit. Go on the Topps website and look up. You can look up WrestleMania buyback, and it's going to show you all your participating stores. Because not every store does it. So if you're in an area, have a hobby shop, they should be participating in it, but not every shop does. So make sure you do go on that. You don't want to go in there with your card and expect $200 in credit and like, oh, actually, we don't participate in that. So just keep an eye out there for that. It is a good way to buy these products. So if you're someone that wants to buy a royalty box, that's a good way to get some credit in. If you want to save money for Cosmic Chrome, a good way to do that. Or, if you still want to buy Topps Chrome, which again, we are so just a big fan of, because I think they absolutely killed 2026 Topps Chrome. I think it's going to be one of those sets where you could just consistently buy and don't feel so outdated with it. So that's going to be a good way to get into it. So yeah, if you're not yet, make sure you do check in for those bulks or base cards and participate in buyback. Because again, it's a good way to get some product there. Again, these prices of the wax can be expensive. It could definitely add up. So if you're just again looking for some ways to get some affordable wax, this could definitely be the factor there for you. Yeah, again, like you just mentioned there, would highly advocate that you guys follow me on my socials. I do my best to keep up with, I obviously that's my, I don't want to say it's my job, but as part of, what I feel like as a content creator, quote unquote, is to do these daily uploads. So if there's something coming out that's new, I make a video about it, it's out there. So if you want day-to-day instant updates, don't want to wait for the podcast, make sure to follow us there. All the links are to be down in the description down below. Instagram, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. It is all down there here. All of our socials to our online platform, that being eBay, Collects. They're also in the down description down below. So if you've been seeing some cards that we've been pulling or are just interested and want to buy, help support us, help support the content, feel free to check out those pages there. Help buy those cards there, because it definitely helps support us and helps bring more content to you guys. But yeah, again, that's going to be it for us. I really do appreciate the support you guys showed, especially over the weekend. I really just appreciate all the support that you showed me. I really, really do appreciate it. It was fun meeting you guys there, and hopefully down the line we can do it for WrestleMania again, or maybe another future PLE. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for us. Again, appreciate for you listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we will see y'all in the next one.